If it's Saturday, it's a special event, the Beach Bum 250, brought to you by Slingshot Racing League. Welcome, race fans. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith and Johnny Rapp here in the Slingshot Racing TV booth. And tonight, we're coming to you live from the legendary Daytona International Speedway. It's an 87 Cup race with cars roaring around this old school super speedway in a throwback to the glory days, where the draft is king and the smallest mistake can turn into a towering pileup. Daytona sits in the heart of Florida, just a few miles from the beaches where stock car racing was born. Since it opened back in 1959, it has been one of the most iconic venues in all of motorsports, a place where champions are crowned and the history of NASCAR has written on every lap. The track was so ambitious in scale that engineers actually had to account for the curvature of the earth when they designed it. That famous 31-degree banking was carved from dirt dug out from the Lake Lloyd, which still shimmers right in the center of this infield. Most fans think of Daytona for the 500, but the very first race here was a 100-mile sports car event back in April of 1959. A then 18-year-old Mario Andretti was even in that field, taking some of his first laps towards that legendary career. Later that year, Lee Petty won the inaugural Daytona 500, kicking off the tradition that would shape NASCAR's entire history. Through the years, the track has hosted some of the sport's greatest rivalries, from Richard Petty to David Pearson, to that wild 1979 Daytona 500 that pitted Petty against Yarborough and brought NASCAR into the national spotlight right on live TV. And just to give you an idea of how massive this place is, you could fit Churchill Downs, Yankee Stadium, the White House, and even the Roman Coliseum inside Daytona's infield, all at once, and still have room to spare. Chris, that is a lot of real estate for these drivers to navigate tonight, and plenty of room for trouble. What are you watching for early on in this Beach Bum 250 if drivers are going to make it to the end?
Well, Ellis, it is Daytona, but it's not the typical super speedway race that we see today. This is pre-restrictor plate era race cars around the Daytona International Speedway, and so we're going to see speeds in excess of 210 miles per hour around here in the draft tonight. That means these cars are going to be sliding around. They're going to be very difficult to handle. There is one faster pair available for the drivers tonight and 3 sets of tires in the pits. Oh, and Ellis, there is some money on the line tonight. As you mentioned, we are going to have to pay off a pot to the winner tonight. Should be an interesting night of racing with one driver taking home the money.
All right, that money will be one of the storylines we're talking about amongst many, but to get to those, it's time for everyone's favorite pre-race tradition here at Slingshot TV. Folks, rise and remove those caps if able for the playing of the national anthem. We'll be right back. Back here live on the beaches of Daytona International Speedway, getting ready for the Beach Bum 250, a throwback to the 1987 NASCAR season. It is going to be a wild race indeed. And before we take that green flag, let's set up some stories for you folks watching home live on YouTube. First of all, Chris, teamwork. Anytime you go to a draft track or a super speedway, you got to have a dance partner. What does that look like tonight? Why is that important?
You have to have drivers come off a pit road with you so that way you can get up to speed a little bit quicker. You can't come off pit road by yourself because it's very, very difficult to maintain your pace unless you have somebody to draft with, and also be able to make your move at the end. You can kind of make some moves by yourself here in these cars compared to, a typical super speedway race, but you still do need that teamwork when it gets down to the end, try to pick up that checkered flag.
Well, you're going to have to do that, but you're also going to have to avoid a potential major crash, the big one, as NASCAR fans call it. How do you do that? Is it even possible here at Daytona?
It's possible, but, you have to have a lot of luck on your side. Being out front, especially in these cars, I think is by far the best place to be. There's a big aero advantage in these 1987 stock cars to being out in front. The car just handles, it drives better. So I think that's the place to be if you want to avoid catastrophe.
Well, catastrophe can happen in a moment's notice. You got to watch your runs. These cars, Chris, really, we're broadcasting a Slingshot Racing League race, and this is Slingshot TV. We're going to see a lot of slingshots tonight. What does that mean in terms of closing rate and how these cars can bump draft each other?
Yeah, Slingshot Racing League's very first series was using the Slingshot. It's kind of where the name is derived from, these 1987 cars. And yeah, the runs are going to be massive tonight. Like I said before in the pre-race, this is, pre-restrictor plate era stock cars. And so with all that horsepower available and the hole being punched in the air by these big, stocky stock cars, that just enables drivers to be able to get huge runs on each other. And we're going to see a lot of that tonight.
14 drivers taking the green flag, or 15 drivers taking the green flag tonight for the start. Is there a risk versus reward mentality for these drivers? Are they gonna 14 cars, 15 cars? It's no small amount. It's not a super big field, but does that play into the mindset of the drivers when thinking about if they want to run up front or wait till that end to make that charge?
Ellis, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I think for a race like this, I think we're going to see a lot of drivers charging, and I think they're going to try their very best to stay up there near the front. I mentioned before track position. You don't normally think about track position in the super speedway. You could definitely make passes here, but I think that is the best way to save your tires. It is to keep that clean air on the nose. So trying to lead the race, I think is going to be something a lot of drivers want to be able to do here tonight.
All right. Well, speaking of leading the race, we're going to get our first shots to see these leaders here in just a moment. We're heading from the studio to the track. Going to take a look at the starting lineup. Qualifying has concluded, and on the pole, no surprise here, that 70 car, familiar sight for Slingshot regulars. Aaron Smith starting on the pole. He's got Peter Smetana starting his outside in that red, white, and silver number 25. And another familiar face, if you've tuned into Slingshot races before, it's Braxton DeWeese in that 8. He's having a great season over in the UD Awards ARCA series and Slingshot Racing League broadcast on Monday nights. You see if he can get a win tonight here at Daytona. To his outside, it's going to be the 53 of Chris French. We've seen him have speed. Look out for that car. Inside of row number 3, it's going to be Zach Mitchell in that number 27 with Scott Drost, the newcomer, in that number 2 starting to the outside. He's coming from 6th. Jacob Phillips, strong run last week in the UD Awards ARCA Series at Portland. He's going to be starting 7th in that number 56 machine. The number 69 of James Young has a nice starting spot in 8th position tonight. Randy Gross in that 31's coming from 9th with Tom Wendt in the number 9 starting 10th.
And rolling off on the inside of row number 6, we got Dave Grajewski in the number 6 machine, and on his outside, Derek BK in that number 67. Steve Vest is a great super speedway racer. We've seen him up near the front in many of these super speedways. He's going to roll off from the 13th position, and starting shotgun on the field in the 14th spot will be Nathan Gentry in the number 12.
It's going to be a 14-car field, and we're getting ready to start this thing, folks. If you're watching at home, got a giveaway tonight. Say hi in the chat. We've already heard from several of you. John Rapp, Randy B, Alan Madonna, iRacing Racers, welcome. And then Shane Coker as well. Glad to see Shane back. Any of you have a chance to win this Richard Petty diecast. It's throwing back to the 1987 season. Chris, I'm not sure if that's a 1987 paint scheme, but it's definitely a throwback paint scheme to one of Richard Petty's all-time classics. We're going to choose one lucky chatter in the chat at the end of the race to send that diecast card to absolutely free of charge. Folks, keep those comments coming. We appreciate you joining in. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do it. It's the best way you can support this channel, and it doesn't cost you a dime. Right now, these race car drivers getting ready to race for some dimes. Big old pot of cash on the line tonight. Pace car going to make that left turn down pit road. Aaron Smith and Peter Smetana going to lead him to the green flag. It's out over Daytona. The Beach Bum 250 is underway. Smith cleanly away. That battle is on for second, side by side. Braxton DeWeese and Peter Smetana. Smetana blinks out for a second as they head down into turn 1.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of connection issue with a couple of drivers. Braxton DeWeese has some trouble right there on the pace laps. Peter Smetana does as well right there. It's all straightened out right now. A lot of drivers trying to get to the bottom of the racetrack. Braxton DeWeese looks like he's picking to the outside. He has aspirations for the lead.
Braxton DeWeese shoots to the outside. He's going to climb the banking in turns 3 and 4, but Zachary Mitchell, who's lunged to the inside in that 27, has other thoughts. That high line is not necessarily the most comfortable line right now, and it looks like Braxton DeWeese is feeling that right at the moment.
Yeah, Braxton DeWeese doesn't have a lot of help behind him right there. That is the number 69 coming up behind him, James Young, in that Sheets machine. He's going to try to give a little bit of drafting help to Braxton DeWeese and try to get that outside lane rolling. We'll have to watch how the outside works tonight, Ellis. You can make up some ground up there, but it's tough sledding. The car, you kind of really need all the racetrack in these 87 stock cars, as Aaron Smith has a little connection flash up here at the front of this thing. Yeah, we'll have to watch, the progress of the outside lane and see if it's able to move any tonight.
An outside line continues to try to work itself in with a 69 of James Young sliding back. The Lone Ranger on the outside, but up front, you're watching Aaron Smith and Zachary Mitchell do battle as they come across the line to come to lap number 3. It's really 2 cars up front. Everyone is settled in widely behind them. That's Smetana and Braxton DeWeese, 3rd and 4th. DeWeese continuing to see if he can find any sort of grip, any sort of speed on that outside line. But one thing we often talk about, Chris, when we're talking about next-gen races and the modern NASCAR, the Xfinities, the trucks, you can really take it full speed into these corners, in many cases too wide, but how are these cars different? How do they handle differently in terms of speed and overall mechanical grip?
Yeah, they're really, really fast entering turn number 3. I'm looking at about the middle of the pack right here, and I had my eyes on James Young, and he was 218 miles per hour entering turn 3. These cars are flying, and Ellis, you kind of need a little bit of a gap to the car in front of you. You don't want to be all packed up on somebody right in front of you like you do in the modern era cars entering the corner. Giving yourself a little bit of a gap, just puts a little bit of clean air on that nose. If you're super close behind somebody, it's going to get that driver in front of you loose, and it's probably going to get you tight as well. You need some clean air on the nose to help these cars turn.
Riding on board with James Young there, you can see exactly what you just said, Chris. The entry into the corner speed exceeding 210 miles an hour, in some cases even as high as 218. Going back to 1987, it was then that NASCAR, Bill Elliott set the record for the fastest stock car speed at 212 miles an hour at Talladega. A little faster at Talladega, but still. Daytona, high speeds here as well, and drivers really making it single file, looking to just maybe settle in. It's 100 laps, and yes, these laps are going to go by quickly, but you want to be around at the end when it counts. We mentioned they do have one quick repair. We're likely maybe going to see some green flag pit stops over the course of this race. Did we get a fuel number? Do we know how long these guys can go on a tank of gasoline?
Not 100% sure on the fuel tonight, but I can tell you right now, the driver out in front of this thing, Aaron Smith, he's in the worst possible position you can be in to save fuel. He's pushing all the air. He's pushing all the air for all the drivers behind him right there, and he's probably running more throttle than anybody else. And you can actually see he and Zachary Mitchell able to get a slight little bit of an advantage over the rest of the field. So it's a little bit harder for him to save fuel compared to drivers behind. Drivers that are behind can kind of run, part throttle, half throttle, back off, entering the corners. So their fuel number that they might want to reach is a little bit more attainable compared to Aaron.
They're going to be dealing with this all night. Will Aaron Smith relinquish the lead to try to save some fuel? Right now, he's looking like he's fairly comfortable being up front. Gains a little bit of ground. You saw that 27 of Zachary Mitchell push up the track just a little bit. Speaks volumes to what we just talked about with how heavy these cars are and how difficult they can often be to handle. Going back, one car dropping back. That looks like it's Chris French right now in what is listed as the 70 on the iRacing view that we have right now. He's listed as number 53 officially, but he lost several positions there. And really, that's been the story of the night for Chris French so far. Just 7 laps in, he's dropped 6 spots after starting in that 4th position on the outside of row 2. I don't think he's had any particular trouble, maybe just looking to go a little bit further back and not push the envelope so far. Couple messages in the chat coming through. Paul Thomas excited by the prospect of 218 miles an hour. I know he remembers that Bill Elliott lap back in 1987 at Talladega. Randy B, we got insider information, folks. Fuel window should be 35 to 40 laps. So we're looking at potentially 2 green flag pit stops if we are to go green the entire duration of this race. Battle is on. Braxton DeWeese, one car in the wall. That is Zachary Mitchell. A little bit of contact there. And Chris, I think that started with Smetana and Braxton DeWeese taking advantage of him opening that door. And when you get on the outside, it's really difficult to not get into that wall.
It definitely is difficult, and you mentioned before that 70 machine of Chris French kind of slipping back a little bit right there in that J.D. McDuffie throwback. We might be able to go side by side right here, Johnny, and see what happened to that number 70 machine.
Oh, he's in the wall again. A couple of cars in the wall as well. I believe that was Jacob Phillips who grabbed the wall.
Yeah, and the drivers are having a hard time running that outside lane right here. You can see Chris French, he's trying to work it, but yeah, he tagged the wall right there off of the exit of turn 2, and that's why he's sliding back right there in that number 70 machine. So these drivers, I kind of mentioned it before, Ellis, when we went green. These drivers needing, he's going to tag it right there again, they really need all the racetrack in order to be able to operate around Daytona. It's very, very difficult to run up there in that top lane because you're using less racetrack up there. You kind of need to arc it down towards the bottom and let that thing wash out on corner exits. So, running the top is definitely a challenge.
Going to be a challenge. Drivers really facing these challenges early on from the start of the green flag. A couple cars grabbing the wall, but up front, it's still Aaron Smith leading the way. He's got a new second-place runner behind him, Peter Smetana. I know these guys have raced each other in the past. They're well-versed in each other's strategies and techniques, and right now, sitting pretty first and second. I'm curious if these two guys are going to work together over the course of the evening. Braxton Deweese, you can see that third car in line as we watch Smetana closed about half a car length to the back of that number 70 machine. Smetana, we haven't seen him in one of these races before, but he is doing great so far. Hey, we got Zalos Zimpai in the chat. He's talking about that 31 machine. I'm looking for who he might be talking about right now. Randy Gross, absolutely. Yeah. Randy Gross in that 31 has moved up all the way to 6th, and Gross had started in the 9th spot inside the top 10, but still a healthy amount of movement early on for Peter Gross in that, Peter Gross and that Randy Gross, sorry, in that number 31 machine. That's a good-looking car, too. Nothing wrong with a black and white paint scheme with a little bit of red trim on it. I like that. I like that chrome number as well.
Yeah, and we raced with Randy Gross in the UD Awards National Series, Ellis, on Monday nights, and yeah, he's a tough competitor, and he usually keeps that car clean on the racetrack, and yeah, he's looking really good right here, maintaining right there in the 6th spot. Kind of like where I'm at if I'm him right there. Got a little bit of a gap behind me to the next car. The next car back there is actually Tom Went in the 28. But yeah, I really like where I'm at if I'm Randy Gross. There's Tom Went in that number 28. He's got a... he was telling me about it, Ellis, in the pre-race. It's kind of a Ricky Craven, that when Ricky Craven ran that DuPont paint scheme, yeah. That solid blue and sort of like neon yellow number right there. And it's the number 28 also, and that's kind of a hard number to beat. So.
You like that number 28, don't you? You run it on Monday nights and Wednesday nights as well in our Slingshot Racing League races. We broadcast every Monday and Wednesday, folks. We do this 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and we're usually doing some sort of giveaway on most of those evenings. So we're giving away that Richard Petty diecast tonight, but if you don't win, you still got plenty of more chances to do so as we watch that battle for the lead continue to kind of develop and percolate as they run through turns 1 and 2 right now down that super stretch, backstretch. Now, let me ask you about that Ricky Craven paint scheme while we were talking about it. Was that before the Kodiak car? Was that before that big Talladega crash, or was that after?
I'm pretty sure it was before that. I think that was actually, if I remember correctly, it was his Busch car. Okay. That was and I think it was a number 2, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong about that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that was before he had that spectacular crash in the number 41 car at Talladega.
Yeah, Aaron Smith blinking out just a little bit. We've seen some connection issues over the course of the evening for several drivers. Getting settled in right now, but I don't know it. I have a hard time really feeling comfortable saying settled in when you're going 215 miles an hour down into the corners. We got Paul Thomas rooting on Steve Vest in the chat right now. Lots of comments, lots of folks eligible potentially for that Richard Petty diecast. We've got to go ahead and play a game here. We'll throw it down into the chat, the bottom line right now for directions, but if you can pick the driver who's going to win this race, we'll throw some extra chat points your way for potentially win that Richard Petty diecast. You'll increase your chances. Just hit the hashtag or pound sign, and then whatever driver number you think is going to win this race, put it in the chat right now, and that could add to your chances to win that Richard Petty diecast later in the race. Look at this battle going on for third. Little door bumper action there right now between the number 8 and number 2. That's Deweese and Drost.
Yeah, and Scott Drost to the inside right here of Braxton Deweese. Braxton on the high side right here. We've seen cars struggle running that top lane, struggling with the handling of their cars right here. Braxton's got a lot of experience in these 1987 cars, though, so if there's anybody that can run it, I suspect that it would be him right here. He has a bit of a run through the tri-oval right here. I think he might be able to get back in line, possibly in front of the 69. Don't think he's going to. That's this number 69 that is looking to the inside. That's James Young in that Sheets machine. Young, yeah, he actually hit the apron just a little bit right there, kind of upset that car a little bit, and that's going to enable Braxton Deweese to get back in line.
A little bit of a wiggle there for James Young, but he does settle back in. And here's what I'm noticing. We've got, as you can see on the view right now, folks at home, we got two packs emerging. We've got a pack of about 7 cars. The field is exactly divided in half. 7 cars up front, and then 7 cars about 7 seconds or 4 seconds back. Chris, do you like the position that these drivers 8th through 14th have put themselves in right now?
Man, we had one car get really loose. Yeah, Johnny went to it right here. That was Dave Grajewski off of turn number 4. I think that if I was them, I would definitely want to be, up there a little bit closer near the front. Unfortunately for them, things have transpired, and they've run into some trouble right here. Dave Grajewski is in a little bit of trouble right here, and that Phantom machine is going to tag the wall in turns 1 and 2. So handling may be going away on that number 6 machine.
Yeah, battle going on between Steve Vest and the number 70 of Chris French right now, a little bit further back. French and Zachary Mitchell going to get by Steve Vest. I know we got some Steve Vest fans in the chat right now. Now, Chris, I know you like that Steve Vest paint scheme, sitting back in the 10th position right now. Vest is a driver that, honestly, we raced with him so much. We've seen him really excel and really grow as a driver, but specifically at super speedways, this is my dark horse pick, I think, Vest, potentially with a shot for the win. Oh, we got trouble! 70, French, Mitchell, Vest, it happens, the big one, 3-4 cars collected down the back straightaway. Caution on the racetrack for the first time tonight. Heavy carnage right now. The good news is if you're a fan of any of these drivers, they've got a quick repair. They'll be okay, at least for the moment. Let's go ahead and see what happened. Let's return to that scene of the crime.
Yeah, Chris French had made the move to get around these guys right here. I think he really wanted to lead the line right here. And as they exit turn number, maybe he touched the paint down there. That car got loose and he overcorrected and back out in front of these drivers right here. Zachary Mitchell, nowhere to go. Steve Vest, nowhere to go. And unfortunately for them, they're caught up in this deal. But as you mentioned, Ellis, everybody that was involved in this, Chris French, Zachary Mitchell, and Steve Vest, all have access to a quick repair in the pits if they are able to tow their cars back, if they're able to drive their cars back around to the pits. And I think that as we ride on board right here with Steve Vest, I think that Chris French had to tow. That damage was just very significant. I don't think he can make it back to the pits right here. And just nowhere to go for these drivers.
Commentator's curse, Chris. It never fails to deliver. Some disturbing images of carnage here right now at Daytona International Speedway. 19 of 100 laps have elapsed. All those drivers involved, they will be okay. Even Chris French is maybe going to go a lap or 2 down, but given another caution, he could get back on the lead lap. Those cars on pit road for repairs right now. This is 20 laps in, Chris. I feel like this might put us in the window. Pitting here, you could split up the other half or the other 80 laps of the race, potentially, based on the insider information we have. You could make it a one-stop race from here. What do you think about that possible strategy?
Yeah, I think that's definitely the move that they're all going to make. The inside information that we had from Randy Bechtel at BDR Setup said that we can make it 35 to 40 laps, and if that is the case, that's going to put these drivers right on their fuel number right here. So I think we'll see everybody come to pit road, and with 3 sets of tires in the pits, I think that we'll see all these drivers also maybe take tires here on pit road as well. Maybe a myriad of strategies. We'll see.
Yeah, I think it's going to really allow those cars to maybe find a little bit more grip and handle just a little bit better. The driver's going to have to be careful not to slide over their pit stop line. Aaron Smith came really close there. Yeah,
back up.
Yeah, Aaron Smith going to have to back up and get that car jacked up on the right side. It's going to probably cost him a little bit of track position. There goes Smetana off pit road. Can Braxton DeWeese also beat off that 70 car here? Boy, Smetana, Chris, might have taken 2 tires, right sides only, on that number 26 machine. So you mentioned it. Multiple strategies coming into play, and boy, Aaron Smith going to lose. He's just sitting right now, I believe, maybe waiting. He's going to sit back at the back of the pack potentially in that number 70 machine. Interesting strategy here. I don't know if I want to be in the back. We talked about, do you push early? Are you conservative? Or are you aggressive? And Aaron Smith looking like he's going to be comfortable just to maybe ride in the back for a little bit. We're going to have to wait for this restart to find out. But while we're waiting on that restart, checking in with the chat right now. Lots of folks. Paul Thomas picking Braxton DeWeese to win this race. Johnny Rapp picking Aaron Smith to win. We got Daniel Berg in the chat. He's picking Aaron Smith to win. Brady King, welcome. Appreciate you joining us. Brady, who you think's going to win this race? Glad to see you. And also, Paul Thomas said cautions usually happen between lap 15 and 18, and it proved out right here, folks. If you haven't said hi in the chat, let us know who you're rooting for. Let us know what brought you here to watch this race, the Beach Bum 250 on Slingshot TV. And you could win a Richard Petty diecast, 1/64th scale throwback Richard Petty diecast. We'll send it to you absolutely free of charge. We're going to pick one lucky winner towards the end of the race that's going to take home that diecast. We do these nearly every single week here on Slingshot TV. Chris, I think I was telling you last week, I think we've hit over 100 diecasts that we have sent out over the course of 2 years.
That's awesome.
And we love doing it. We have a good time doing it. We've sent it to over 30 different states in the United States. So we continue to add to that list. Aaron Smith's going to come down pit road. A couple cars coming down pit road, Chris. I think they think that potentially they're going to need some fuel here to make it.
Yeah, I think that they're thinking that it's very close to make it on one stop. And so they're going to come to pit road right here to maybe top off and put themselves in a little bit better position right here. I see one car. Looks like Peter Smetana. I thought he took right side tires before. It looks like he's taking rights again. But it looks like he's taking 4 this time. So I hope that he didn't waste a set of tires right there.
Yeah, we got 80 laps left. It's not easy to get around here.
It's not. And back behind them, we've got Steve S coming back down pit road. Steve S got a lot of damage fixed the old-fashioned way in that number 60 machine. But I'm glad that he looks like he just took that quick repair. So I think he had second thoughts about it after he saw how much damage he still had.
Probably a wise choice. A couple comments from Alan Madonna. Appreciate him. Alan joining in. He says he misses the pink Rumple car. I believe the JD McDuffie car that, Chris, we were talking about that just a little bit earlier.
Yeah, we are. And yeah, there's a lot of great JD McDuffie paint schemes. And I'm glad to see. Unfortunately, Chris French is out of this race. But yeah, he had one of them out there. I was kind of hoping we would see a Jimmy Smut Means car out here tonight. That's one of my favorite sort of underdog cars from this era. The number 52, he had a couple really great, like the Eureka and the Turtle Wax paint schemes. Just, some, very simple paint schemes, but sort of iconic for that era.
Say the Urethra paint scheme.
No, I didn't say that. But also, Jimmy Means is from, Huntsville, Alabama. So, pretty close to home.
Yeah.
So
our neck of the woods.
That's right.
Right now, pace car getting back to its neck of the woods, making that left-hand turn down pit road. It's going to set up a restart between Randy Gross and Scott Drost in that number 2 machine. It's going to be Randy who starts the race here. Gets off cleanly. Drost along with the number 28. Slacks back just a little bit there, but they both get it going. Tom went in there still on the outside. Several drivers lunging towards the inside. Ooh. Oh boy, James Young wanted that inside. Did not want Drost to get to the inside. Drost tried to close the door. Can he find a space to dip down in here? And the answer is yes. Drost gets in line of that number 2. And everyone's single file, but jockeying for position here early on this restart. The 67 of Derek VK up into the top 2 for the first time. Delivers a helping hand, a big push to the back of Randy Gross in that number 31. As they slide through turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, you mentioned it before, Ellis. The pack had been kind of broken up. There were 2 different packs right here. The playing field has been evened out right here with that caution, and some drivers who were back there in that second pack and had kind of fallen back a little bit find themselves in a much better track position state right here. Randy Gross is exactly where everybody wants to be, out in front with clean air on the nose of that number 31 Pontiac Grand Prix.
Clean air, but it also comes at a slight disadvantage, Chris. You mentioned it earlier. These cars burn up some tires, but they also burn some fuel. And without any sort of draft help on that front nose, you get the most level of resistance. That motor's having to work the hardest right now, and it's using up a little bit more fuel than everybody else in a race that we believe is going to really see fuel at a premium and could seriously impact strategy. That might be something Randy Gross might consider here, at least after a couple of laps. Derek VK, James Young trying to make a pass to the inside of VK as they cross the start-finish line to come to lap number 24, almost a quarter of the way through the Beach Bum 250.
Yeah, you saw Derek VK's car get a little arrow tight through the tri-oval right there, and as he got closer and closer and had that run on Randy Gross, the speed increasing in that 67, he got tight and he got shuffled out, and here is Randy Gross getting shuffled out. That's the number 69 of James Young looking for the lead.
It's a battle for the lead, headed down into turns 3 and 4. Young now to P1, but Scott Trost has something to say about that as they shove Randy Gross back up top to the 3rd position. Behind them, it's Tom Wendt in that spam-colored machine. The number 28 lunges to the inside. 3rd place is what he has his eyes on. He's going to take it as they cross the line.
Yeah, Tom Wendt right here looking good in the 3rd spot. He is somebody who has a lot of super speedway experience as well, a road and plate veteran, and here he is right now up into the 3rd spot and with some pretty good track position right here as these drivers are single file all the way from the lead of this pack all the way to the back of the pack.
Looking at a car back here that that number 9 machine, I'm trying to look, that's Nathan Gentry.
Yeah.
That's a good looking paint scheme. I like that car. What do we got going on there? Is that an Alka-Seltzer paint scheme?
That's an out. Oh, as he gets out of shape. Oh, contact.
Boy,
Randy
the
Gross
car's
going
gonna
over.
roll over. At least 1 roll, 2 rolls. Now through the infield, the number 31. That is indeed Randy Gross, who was the leader at the start of this race. We are still under green flag conditions. We'll see if we get a yellow from the race director. But right now, the rest of the field continues to race through turns 1 and 2. And boy, that was a big one, at least in terms of the dramatic rollover, the blowover that we're so used to seeing from these cars. And we're going to get the caution here. Caution is out on the speedway for a dramatic incident here on lap 26.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Kudos to our producer right here, Johnny Rapp. He is Johnny on the spot. No pun intended right here. Let's go back to see what happened right here to Randy Gross. Yeah, Nathan Gentry got a little bit loose, got out of shape, made some contact with Randy Gross, and look at this thing fly. A hallmark, Ellis, of this era of stock cars. We've seen the blowover. It is synonymous with this era of race cars. The air got underneath that 31 machine, and it lifted it up right there. I had shades of Ricky Rudd right there in the Bud Shootout or in the Busch Clash at the time, in about the same spot right there at the entrance of Pit Road.
Chris, I think it might be fair to say that Randy Gross and Nathan Gentry are probably going to need some Alka-Seltzer after that lap number 26 collision. Puts us under caution for the 2nd time tonight. Watch this wild ride. Lift off, as Paul Thomas said in the chat. And boy, the G's were heavy on that one.
They definitely were. And yeah, I mean, it's a wreck. It's very spectacular. I know Randy Gross probably isn't laughing about it or, finds it as spectacular as we do. But, yeah, I mean, it's something that kind of goes with this era of stock cars. And not a lot of damage to the 31 machine. I do think he's probably, going to have to take his quick repair, and because the whole rear deck lid spoiler is missing on that 31. So that thing's going to be out of shape, out of control, loose, unless he takes that quick repair.
He's going to take a quick repair. We're going to just sit here for a moment and kind of collect our breaths. That was a wild one. A lot of interesting images over the course of tonight. And I got a little bit of 80s trivia. I guess it's factoids. You and I are both teachers, Chris. We love to look back at the past, look at history. So I thought I would collect some 1987 themed as we watch a couple cars come down pit road. A couple 80s themed pieces of information or trivia. We'll hit those right after we watch this cycle of pit stops. And this, I know, is going to make a lot of drivers happy. It's going to definitely allow them to get by one more stop after this, regardless of a caution or not. And that includes Braxton DeWeese, Aaron Smith. Actually, not Aaron Smith.
Oh, Dave Rajewski in trouble on pit road here.
Yeah, that number 8 machine, Fanta, slid into his pit stall. Not sure if there was contact between those two as he continues to try to back it up. Smetana and Aaron Smith going to come off a pit road in front of these guys. You can see the number 67 of Fike as well. But, yeah, fast pit stop by the number 31 of Randy Gross involved in that caution. I think we're probably going to see him have to make a few more pit stops. Currently showing a black flag for Randy Gross. That's definitely likely going to be cleared, though, after he gets that damage repaired. Getting ready for a restart here, probably on a lap about 30 or so, almost a third of the way through this thing. It's going by fairly quickly, folks. And we gathered some 1987 information or trivia. I'm curious to ask this to you, Chris, but I'm also interested to pose it to the fans watching at home. The first version of the GIF, which is the graphics interchange format, this is an image file, was released by CompuServe in June of 1987. Again, that's GIF image files. I'm curious, if you're in the chat, watching at home, this is your chance to get your comment in and have a chance to win that Richard Petty diecast. How do you pronounce that GIF? How do you pronounce it? There's two kind of standard pronunciations. I'm curious how you pronounce it. You can just put it in the chat. Phonetics, I guess, would be how you do it. I give it away if I give away spellings, but how do you pronounce it in the chat? Chris, you know what I'm talking about here?
I know what you're talking about, and I always had my opinion about how it was pronounced. And then the guy who supposedly invented it said that I was all wrong when he finally came out and started talking about it. So, yeah, I'm kind of conflicted about it, to be completely honest with you.
So GIF, how do you pronounce that? Would you say it with a G or a J, I guess is what I would be wondering. Would you say it with a G or a J pronunciation? We got Paul Thomas chiming in. He's a J fan. I believe Alan Madonna might be a J fan. I'm not sure. He said YEEF. I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever heard that pronunciation, Alan. But right now, watching a couple cars come down pit road. Getting ready to come back to the green flag here. Are we working our way through turns 1 and 2, Chris? Is that correct?
We are working our way through turns 1 and 2.
I'm going to move in Aaron Smith just for a second into the broadcast room real quick. Aaron Smith, you got a copy?
He might have a copy now.
Nope.
Aaron Smith, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, we want to check in with you real quick. It's been a wild one. 2 cautions so far. We saw you drop back to the back earlier. You're up to 4th. How's this car handling? What's going to take to be there at the end?
Yeah, it's all going to be tire conservation. There's not much left in the fuel strategy, so all it's going to take is sitting around that inside and hoping your right side tires stick. So I'll see what I can do here.
Well, man, we'll be looking forward to watching you take this restart here in a minute. We're going to move you back to your room. And am I moving you back to Very Racing? Which room do you want me to move you back to? Placeholder. Yeah, placeholder. That's right. All right. Good luck out there. All right. So you heard from Aaron Smith. Chris, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, I think that I was just going to say that maybe he can't hear us because I think he was deafened. I think he was really trying to concentrate. But he was Johnny on the spot right there. And recognized that we were pulling him into the booth right there. So, yeah, Field's working his way through turns 3 and 4 right now, Ellis, and they are coming to get the green flag.
That's going to be James Young and Scott Drost on the front row. It's going to be on that red and yellow machine of James Young. The 69 is going to be the control car on the restart as they get into the restart zone. Green flag's going to wave as James Young brings him down the line. Bit of a slow start. Everyone gets through it just fine, though, at least for the moment. Drost has a big old mirror full of Aaron Smith as we watch that rear view mirror on James Young, and look at how crowded that field is and how chaotic and frenetic that energy is here on the restart. Maybe the most chaotic restart we've seen so far as they set sail down the backstretch.
Yeah, Scott Drost in that number 2, the only, I believe, Ellis, it's the only Buick in the field right here. He didn't have a whole lot of help, but Aaron Smith saw him out there and he decided he was going to try to push him again right here down the backstretch. But look at Aaron, give him some room entering turn 3. That's what I was mentioning before, Ellis, about how you have to have a little bit of space between you and the car in front of you entering the corner. And that push is going to put Drost out to the lead.
Drost now P1. Aaron Smith working on P2. He's to the outside right now of James Young. That's a side-by-side battle, and these cars going upwards of 212 miles an hour into the corner as we watch the battle for second place continue. Cars wiggling a little bit back and forth behind them. The next car in line is going to be Tom Wendt. Aaron Smith puts the crossover on that number 69 of James Young. Tom Wendt slides in place right behind him, but Derek Fiquet in the number 67 moves to the top. He's got a big run into 3.
Yeah, a lot of confidence right there out of Derek Fiquet right there. He's not intimidated by that outside lane at all right here. We'll see if he can maintain the grip right here behind another car. There's a lot of dirty air on the nose of that 67, but he maintained his position right there on the outside through turns 3 and 4. And I think that's, yeah, we got a lot of jockeying for position right here, Ellis.
This is the most energy we've seen on the track. One car in the wall. That was the 6 of Dade Grajewski in that Phantom machine. About 8 cars back. He's the highest car on the track right now. In fact, James Young might have gotten the wall. These cars are already starting to feel a little bit of tire wear. Not your typical Daytona race going 212 miles an hour into the corner. You got to slow down a little bit, and it's not as easy as it sounds. That battle for second rages on. That's the number 2 of Scott Dross. He's on the inside of James Young, who's now into the wall. Zachary Mitchell has to lift off. Derek VK shows some discretion. We're still green. They almost make it through.
Hold on, Derek.
VK is loose.
Hold on to it, Derek. He is going to hold on to it. I think he got the end of pit road right there. He's sliding sideways right here through the infield, but he's going to keep it straight right here. The car has stopped.
There's still the yellow flag.
Right here. There's the yellow right there, and yeah, that's Derek right there. He fought it for a long time. He tried to hold on to it, and what we're seeing, Ellis, that started with the number 69 machine of James Young off of turn number 4. We're seeing these cars that are on that top lane. They're having a very, very difficult time maintaining their position out there, maintaining the grip right there. As we watch right here, as the cars exit turn number 4, here they are. You see just up ahead that red and gold machine kind of come down the hill. Zachary Mitchell has to take evasive action right there. That's going to put Derek Fike down on the apron of the racetrack. He is fighting that thing. It gets into a tank slapper, gets sideways right here, clips the infield grass, and he goes sliding right here. He's going to keep it off the wall right there, though, and he's going to lock it down right here. A great piece of driving from Derek Fike to keep that car straight, or not straight, but at least keep it without any damage.
And it really was. He caught a big break, I believe, with that caution. That put us under caution for the 3rd time tonight here on lap number 34. Over a third of the way through this Beach Bum 250. If you're joining us at home, we are incredibly excited that you chose to join us, whether it's your first time or you tune in every single week. We do 3 broadcasts at least a week, and this is one of those special events that we're excited to broadcast for Slingshot Racing League here on Slingshot TV. We're giving away that free Richard Petty diecast, so if you haven't got your comment in, make sure you are chatting with us. We're going to choose one lucky viewer who's kept that conversation going all night long to get that free Richard Petty diecast. Right now, we are under caution. I'm going to go through a couple of comments in the chat. Alan Madonna on top of it with these comments, and he says that the number 2 needs a skull logo. That number 2 of Scott Dross. I agree. That's a good-looking paint scheme. I think a throwback to who drove the skull car. I know it was a Harry Gant car, but when it was that number 8, I believe, was that Hut Strickland? Who was that?
So there's a couple different eras. The one that I really remember during this time was the number 1. Rick Mass drove it.
Rick Mass,
do remember that.
Right. That's right.
Phil Parsons, I think it was 55 at one point. He was a teammate maybe to the 33. So it's had a couple different teammates and a couple different numbers for eras as these cars are going to come down pit road.
Pit road is active right now. Aaron Smith makes that left-hand turn, comes in from 2nd place. Several cars coming to the attention of their crew, and they did have 3 sets of tires. I'm really curious, Chris, to see how many of those tire sets they're going to use up here early on in the going. I think tire wear is really maybe playing a little bit more significant of a factor than we had imagined early on. We've seen the handling of these cars. You mentioned once you go up the track, it's really difficult to get it back down. And we saw Derek Fike almost get away with a slide through the tri-oval. And let me tell you, Chris, once you're sideways through that tri-oval, it's hard to hang on to it. I know something about that.
Yeah, especially in these cars, right? Yeah, I think there's a couple of sets of teammates right here, a set of teammates in the booth right here that were trying to help each other, and one of them turned the other one around in the tri-oval.
I like to give you crap about it every time there's the opportunity, but right now, the leader scored is Zachary Mitchell. He's got Dade Grajewski and Jacob Phillips. I believe those are the 3 cars that did not make their way down pit road. The first car off pit road is going to slide into that picture momentarily. That's going to be the 70 of Aaron Smith. I just looking through, we mentioned the GIF question earlier. Chris, how do you pronounce it? I don't care what the inventor of it said. What's the correct pronunciation of it?
See, to me, I think that I started calling it GIF because that's just, how I think that it would be, that's the way it's spelled, But I'm pretty sure that the inventor said that it was Jif, so I started calling it Jif because that's what the inventor said. So,
Well, I'm not trying to flex, but I've always pronounced it Jif my entire life. So,
yeah.
Well,
yeah, like
speaking
Jif
of
peanut butter, right?
yeah, exactly.
That starts with a J.
It does, but G works too. Several cars working their way down pit road here. Maybe these folks, that's Steve Vest, the 67 of Derek Fike, also going to come down. These guys maybe just looking to pack that thing full of fuel. We got about 64 laps left in this race. That would get them 32 and 32 if they were to split the run down the middle in terms of fuel. Paul Thomas in the chat says hard G is most widely accepted. Absolutely not. I have to disagree. The inventor, I've been told the inventor said it was pronounced Jif, so I think that's probably the correct pronunciation. Oh boy, I'm laughing at my own jokes now. It's a bad situation.
He's not gonna let that one go. Yeah, the inventor agreed with him.
Well, yeah, a minute ago I didn't care what the inventor said, but look at that. Steve Vest is going to have the fastest time among those two cars off the pit road. He rolls off right now, and they have doubled up, getting ready for the restart, coming here to lap number 37 of 100, approaching the halfway mark of the Beach Bum 250 here from Daytona International Speedway. That last restart was the wildest one we have seen all night long, and I think we're probably going to see even more of it here momentarily. Chris, you telling your driver anything if you're on top of that pit box as the crew chief?
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to be telling him what Aaron Smith said right there. We saw a lot of drivers come to pit road, but a lot of them taking fuel. Only Aaron was one of them, just taking fuel, not taking tires. You mentioned before, wanting to save those tires maybe for some late race cautions. I think this is going to be, like he said, a tire conservation race. There's really nothing you can do, no nefarious things that you can do as far as, pit strategy goes, to try to, steal, some positions or, even the race. I think you're going to have to just work those tires right there. So field is doubled up right here for at least the first three rows, and we're coming to the green flag.
Getting ready to come to the green flag. Pace car making that hard left turn down pit road. It's going to be on Zachary Mitchell and Dade Grajewski. Your front row for the fourth restart tonight. Zachary Mitchell gets off with a heck of a run to the start-finish line. We're green flag racing once again, but look out for Tom Witt in that number 28 machine. Now side by side with Grajewski, but boy, it looks like Grajewski just shot out of a cannon in that number 6 on the high line. Let's see if he can handle that high line. We've seen several drivers struggle with it tonight. Help might be on the way. That white number 2 of Scott Drost is going to draw even with the number 69 of James Young. Now he's up to the third row. Now back to the back bumper of the number 6. The draft, Chris, you can see how heavy of a role it's playing.
Yeah, great push down the backstretch right here from Scott Drost to Dade Grajewski, and Dade is going to take the lead as they work their way through turns 3 and 4. That number 6 machine has been high, wide, and handsome at some points tonight. It was Drost tags the wall right there off turn 4. That car got tight on the exit of the corner.
Scott Drost's right side went on a date with the wall down there on the tri-oval, and he walks away to tail the tell here. Tries to close the door on the number 27 of Zachary Mitchell. Mitchell might have let off the throttle just a little bit, showed some discretion there, and both drivers live to fight another day here. Tom went back there in the 4th position, trying to do battle with the number 31. I believe that 31, Randy Gross, on the next lap down. He's one lap down. Gross doing everything he can to get back that lap the hard way as he is on the outside now, back in that 5th position, at least on the track. But the battle for the lead continues. Drost and Grajewski, that orange and white cars, first and second through the tri-oval. High speeds upwards of 210 miles an hour down into turn 1.
Yeah, Randy Gross right here, the only car fighting to get back on the lead lap. Let's give a call right here to Nathan Gentry, who was a lap down after the trouble that we saw with Randy Gross earlier. Those two got together. Nathan Gentry has got his lap back. He is currently back on the lead lap. And Ellis, I made mention of a Jimmy Smut Means paint scheme, how I wish there was one in the field. That was before I saw this Alka-Seltzer machine. That is a throwback to that number 52 that Means ran in the NASCAR Cup Series for so many years.
Oh, one car. Zachary Mitchell might have grabbed the wall there a little bit, slid up the track, and that does seem to be the danger point on the exit of turns 3 and 4. It's going to open the door for the number 28 of Went and the number 69 of James Young to make that pass. That's going to be a pass for 3rd and 4th, with now Mitchell slipping back into the potentially hanging tight in the right, outside right now, potentially back into the 5th position. Yeah, but you mentioned it, Chris. Nathan Gentry in that Alka-Seltzer machine, he got his Alka-Seltzer, and it definitely worked after that encounter with the rollover earlier, and he's no worse for wear at this point. The action heats up down into turn 3.
Yeah, it does right here, side by side right here between the lap car of Randy Gross and the 27 of Zachary Mitchell. Mitchell's a car that ran into some trouble earlier as well, but he has recovered nicely, battling right here in the top 5. He needs a little bit of help behind him right here or to get back down to that inside lane. So he had aspirations maybe to get down right there in front of the number 9 of Nathan Gentry. Closing up behind Gentry is Braxton DeWeese in the number 8. That's a good-looking white and blue machine. Just kind of pops out there on the track, and he's got that thing right here. He and Aaron Smith are kind of, just right back here, just kind of watching the action. Not in a huge hurry to get up in there, it doesn't look like. Maybe just trying to look after those tires right now.
And you mentioned Braxton DeWeese. Kudos to that guy. He runs the same paint scheme every single week, every single series, at least for the past 2 or 3 years. Brand loyalty and sponsor loyalty indeed has seen Braxton DeWeese carry that Interstate Ford paint scheme, it feels like, for a couple of years now, every time we've seen him out on the track. And right now, DeWeese running in 7th position. I haven't heard from Chris DeWeese in the chat. Not watching Braxton race tonight, maybe. If not, if he's there, say hello. We got Paul Thomas talking about how outside is the most dangerous place to be, it feels like right now. And 2 or 3 cars have slid up to that sector of the track, that portion of the track. And we'll see if we see any sort of other encounters with the wall. And then Alan in the chat, unless you use the side push to keep you off the wall, got to enter high enough, though. Yeah, scary indeed. Yeah. I can't disagree with you, especially in the Halloween season. A couple of drivers have had some close encounters tonight as we ride on board currently with, I believe that is James Young. And look at that run he channels to that push towards the outside. 2, 3 cars being passed now by Young as he looks to close the gap on Aaron Smith. And Chris, if you can't make the, what did we just see there? Was that a good pass potentially by James Young? What went wrong for that number 69 machine?
Well, I think he saw a car up ahead. He saw the 27 Zachary Mitchell, and you got Braxton DeWeese also peeking out right there. I think he wanted to get a little bit of a sniff of the draft off of those cars maybe and see if he could leap a position or two. The problem with running the top, Ellis, with these cars is he's going to tag the wall right here off of turn number 4. Right. You just need so much racetrack. You really got to take a giant arc into the corners if you're going to run that high lane. And you got to really kind of enter really, really high, close to that wall, and shoot down low as close to that car on the inside as you can.
Up front, 2 by 2, Zachary Mitchell. Oh, one car, Dagger just near the wall. Mitchell has to get out of the throttle. Both drivers going to slow down. It's going to slow down Mitchell a lot. Dave Grajewski's just got to keep it on the track right now. Thought about trying to get down to the inside. Not the place to be. Probably needs to stay to the outside, but also keep it out of the wall. I know easier said than done. Hopefully he does not cut down on Peter Smetana there. I know Smetana was hoping the same exact thing.
Oh, in trouble.
That's Jacob Phillips and number 27 of Zach Mitchell. Will it put us under caution, or will the race director allow us to continue this green flag run? No one seems to be in harm's way for Zachary Mitchell in the tri-oval right now. He's going to try to get that thing going again. It'll be a lap down, but yeah, that was a big spin. Almost saw that thing roll over. These things have a tendency to do the blowovers, Chris, but I think Zachary Mitchell was lucky not to have that happen to him here on lap number 45.
Yeah, we'll go back right here and maybe see if we can see what happened with Zachary Mitchell in that number 27 machine. We might be able to do a side-by-side right here. Here's Mitchell in the 27 right here. There's Jacob Phillips to his inside in the number 56. Dave Grajewski's going to tag the wall, I think, right here on the exit right here. And Zachary Mitchell was trying to work his way underneath Dave without making contact. You see that thing kind of lift off right there. And this is before, Ellis, the era of roof flaps on these cars right here. But luckily, he had scrubbed off enough speed right there where the car is going to stay on the ground. So Zachary Mitchell is going to continue on.
My take on roof flaps, you don't need them. You don't need them. These boys raced without them in the 1980s. I think we were good. Everyone walked away from those things. Those cars were much less safer back then. The Aero Coupe saved him, says Alan Madonna. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think we saw Zachary Mitchell get away with one there. I know he's going to think differently of it, running by himself almost half a lap or more behind. But up front, it continues to be Scott Drost with Tom Wendt in that number 9 machine, not too far behind with Braxton DeWeese and Aaron Smith, along with Derek Fike in tow. Shout out to Derek Fike holding his own tonight in that number 67 machine, back in 5th position. Right now, that number 67 is wound up tight here, and he's been in the top 5 much of the evening. We have known Derek for a little while. He's raced with Slingshot Racing League in multiple series before. He always brings it when it comes to these super speedway style draft tracks, and tonight that does not seem to be any different. I know he usually has some folks watching at home. Shout out to them if they are tuning in. And folks, if you are tuned in, you're watching in that YouTube chat right now, you got a chance to win a Richard Petty diecast. All you got to do is let us know who you're rooting for. Say hi in the chat. Anything get you entered in to win that. And the more comments you throw in there, the better chance you have. But yeah, that Richard Petty diecast, going to give it away towards the end of the race. Single file right now here on lap number 48 of 100, almost halfway through the Beach Bum 250, a 100-lap race. And boy, some heavy drafting going on there as we watch the airplane come down to take a landing down in the backstretch runway. These cars feel like they're going about as fast as that plane when it's getting down into that descent to land 210 plus miles an hour through these. Oh, one car sideways. That might have been the 69 of James Young. He's going to careen into that wall. He's down into the trial, but maybe one more car with him there. I saw at least another car get off track. That might have been Zachary Mitchell. Maybe not. Maybe not. It was
Randy Gross.
Randy Gross in that 31, who was trying to get his way back onto the lead lap, struggling to get through the infield right now. That infield grass is not easy on these 1987 stock cars. He gets through it. We continue our green flag stretch.
Yeah, and we might be able to go back right here and, okay, yeah, we are going to get a caution flag right here because of the incident right there. So race control going to throw the yellow right here. We'll go back to see what maybe transpired right here between the number 69 of James Young and the 31 of Randy Gross. I think that the initial crash is going to be around the 69. I think he is one of those cars on the outside. Yeah, here he is to the outside of Nathan Gentry. And Ellis, if you're out here, man, you just got to completely change your approach about how you drive. You can't drive up there the same way that you drive on the inside lane. And yeah, that car gets tight on the exit of the corner right there. Some contact, it looked like right there with Jacob Phillips along with Randy Gross. Those two drivers were just innocent victims as they exited turn number 4. Yeah, it looks like Randy went and tagged that outside wall. We know that he's already taken a quick repair for that 31 machine, so he's going to have to, get his damage fixed the old-fashioned way.
And with that, we're going to take a moment to go ahead and take our breath at the halfway point. We're going to take a moment to hear from Whiplash Simcams, who brought every single angle you have seen on the broadcast tonight. If you're looking for just cool cameras to take cool screenshots of your car, or maybe looking to broadcast your own races, Whiplash Simcams is the place to go. We'll hear from them, and we'll be right back after this break. Don't go anywhere, folks. Second half of the race coming up. Back here live from Daytona International Speedway, past the halfway mark of the Beach Bum 250 from Slingshot Racing League. Ellis Thomas joined by Chris Smith and Johnny Rapp up in the Slingshot TV booth tonight, bringing you all the action live. Hearing from some fans in the chat. Braxton Dewey says his dad is watching. He just can't shout out in the chat. Well, we appreciate Braxton letting us know. Hey, look, he's riding down the apron there. He's typing as he races. Be careful, Braxton. Shout out to Chris watching at home. Glad you're able to watch. We miss you here in the chat, though. Enjoy the race and good luck to Braxton. And right now, let us know what driver you are rooting for. We're going to be giving away that Richard Petty diecast to one lucky viewer near the end of the evening. All you have to do is get a comment there in the chat. And yeah, you can pull up that chat on your phone. You still have that feature, whether you're on your computer, your tablet, your TV. Even TVs have the chat feature. I promise it might take you a little minute to type in hi or something like that. But and if you haven't hit that subscribe button, do it now, please. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it's the best way you can support us here at Slingshot TV. Hit that thumbs up button as well. Working the fifth caution of the night for a big incident that saw a couple of cars, including the number 69 of James Young and Randy Gross, have massive contact. I think we're getting set here for the one to go. Driver's going to stack up double file here in just a moment. Lights are out on the pace car for the second half of the race. And we curated a little bit of 1987 trivia for folks watching at home today. We knew that we were racing these 87 cars, and we're going to throw it back a little bit. So I'm curious if anyone knows the answer to this question. Which boxer became the youngest heavyweight champion to unify the WBA, WBC, and the IBF titles? What boxer became the youngest heavyweight champion in 1987? I only know like 3 or 4 boxers, and it's one of those. So it's a big name. It's a big name. Chris, I'm going to let you think about it. Folks watching at home, let us know in the chat. It's a famous boxer, won and unified the 3 major boxing championships in the 1980s. Let us know who you think it is, and make sure that you also just say hi. Let us know what driver you are rooting for. Look at Paul Thomas watching on TV and chatting with the phone. I like that setup. That is an easy setup. Dual technology there. How tech savvy. Got Tommy Morrison, Mike Tyson. Chat, Chris, you got any guesses?
I kind of went back and forth. I was thinking about Mike Tyson, but I was also thinking that maybe Mike Tyson that's a little bit too early for him. Maybe I also was thinking about Sugar Ray Leonard, because I'm pretty sure that he was a big boxer in the 80s, right?
Sugar Ray Leonard was a big boxer in the 80s. The correct answer is Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson. Okay. Yeah. Famous boxer then, famous boxer now, maybe for all the wrong reasons. But right now, these drivers getting ready to throw some right-handers and some hooks as we get ready for an all-out heavyweight bout for the second half here of the Beach Bum 250. It's going to be Scott Drost and Nathan Gentry on the front row. That number 2 and 8 are going to lead us to the restart. Sun comes out for the first time here at Daytona. The clouds are gone, and it is a bright, sunny afternoon, and Scott Drost is going to take advantage of that sunlight to take the lead. He's the lone car out inside. Tom Witt and Nathan Gentry side by side. We talked about the dangers of double file racing in these cars. These drivers showing no fear right now through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, we saw Tom Witt kind of tag the apron right there a little bit. Braxton DeWeese cut him a slight break right here. Nathan Gentry goes way too high right there off turn 2. He hits the wall just very slightly right there. It doesn't seem like it breaks his momentum at all. He's still got that number 9 machine in the wind right here. Zachary Mitchell right behind him. They're double file for the lead right here as they come off of turn number 4.
2-wide fight for the lead. Now one car surges to the front. It becomes a 2-wide battle for second. Nathan Gentry and Tom Witt side by side as they cross the line onto lap number 54. The car behind them, Zachary Mitchell, who's had a race full of excitement, is now in 4th position, surging to the front after getting that car repaired, looking to take the 3rd position away from Nathan Gentry, the lone car on the outside in that top 8 battle, and it's a dangerous place. Gentry's going to have to be careful up there, Chris.
Yeah, Nathan did a really nice job right there off of turn number 2. Really kept his car up underneath him right there. That car went out there like it wanted to go towards the wall, but he was able to corral it right there, and he is bleeding some positions right here, just looking to get back to the bottom, it seems, that Steve Vest working his way underneath him now.
Steve Vest working his way up towards the front. How about Steve Vest? Early trouble in that number 60 machine, but he has propelled himself up in the last 30 laps or so, got that damage repaired. Currently, Vest in the 5th position in that number 28 machine, hailing from Alabama. That driver is a super speedway specialist as we ride on board. And look at what an impact the draft plays here, Chris. It's probably going to take no time for him to catch up to that car in front.
Yeah, that's Steve Vest in the number 60 right there. Yeah, you see his entry speed into the last set of corners was 210 miles per hour. He's a little bit off the gas right here in this corner as he was getting the run on the pack just up ahead, 203 entering that time right there. But that just happens to be where the marker is, where the relay is for that. The speed is actually greater than that entering the corner. It's just because, you know, when he decides to start lifting on the gas, he's probably lifting right about here. Yeah, you see right there, entering turn 1, 213 miles per hour.
I clocked him at 215 headed into turn 3 last time. So these drivers are going fast, and there's no way to sugarcoat it. No way it's comfortable. Even on that inside line, even single file, these drivers are having to put some torque into that wheel. These cars are a handful to drive around here. You see them shaking around just a little bit. You see cars sliding up the track a little bit as we ride through turns 3 and 4 on the front straightaway. 27 of Zachary Mitchell almost grabbed the wall, and he continues to try to make that outside line work and surge. And look at the run. It pulls off at the tri-oval onto second place. He's now into second, passing Tom Witt. And what a run that 27 had through the front straightaway.
Yeah, great job right there through the front stretch right there for Zachary Mitchell. As these drivers get more and more experience right here, they're going to get more and more. Oh, and as I was just about to say, they're going to get more and more experience running on the top, and they'll start figuring it out. But he did tag the wall very, very slightly right there off the corner as Derek Fike comes off the pit road and tries to rejoin the pack at the tail end of it.
And that 27 continues to try to ride that outside. Now, I don't know if it's just having trouble getting down or if he is just trying to work that in, doesn't want to lose the track position, but certainly dropping spots here every single lap. But he continues to get those runs. I think I know what probably explains that, Chris. That tighter you are to that apron in the trial, but you got to lift off the throttle just a little bit if it's not going to get sideways. I don't think you have to do that as much up on that second lane through the trial, and I think that allows that 27 to get a little bit extra grip, maybe a little bit of extra speed, and channel that into a little bit of a surge on the outside. But he pays for it pretty much everywhere else around the track. Let's see if he can get down here this time into turn number 3. He does. That 27 gets down to the inside, close to that yellow line, which is the driver's friend here at Daytona. And Zachary Mitchell, we've raced with him before. This could be a big night for Zachary Mitchell, claiming his first win in Slingshot Racing League, formerly Spark Racing League. He's doing a good job out there and positioning himself, setting himself up maybe for a big night in just 40 laps from now. We are just over 40 laps remaining here, past the halfway point. One more pit stop likely on the way for these drivers. And look at VK wrapping that outside.
Yeah, VK trying to come out. He came out of the pits right here. I think he's on fresh tires, Ellis, so he's able to roll a little bit better right here on the outside than some of his competitors. And you see the differences right there between fresh tires and a little bit older tires on his competitors on the inside right there.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, they're off the gas, and he's on the gas right here. It's still not comfortable. It's still not easy, but it's easier than what his competitors have. Oh, yeah, Dade was kind of struggling a little bit right there in the tri-oval, but he is going to corral it. And man, look at Fike go, going to get a lap back the hard way.
Yeah, and that's going to put him 2 laps down, trying to get himself closer to getting back on that lead lap. And yeah, look at that run he gets off turn number 2, surges into the second spot on track outside of Tom Went in that number 28, and he just hopes he can get clear of Scott Drost in that number 2. And really, Chris, I'm looking at the car that I feel best about. It's a newcomer, Scott Drost, we've seen lead the most laps today in that number 2 machine. Kudos to that number 2 driver, making that simple paint scheme look pretty fast out here tonight. He was a newcomer. I don't think we've ever seen him in Slingshot Racing League, but he picked up the ad and he applied for the race, and he's here, and he's kind of making a statement in his first race out.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. Nice and smooth out here. As you mentioned it, he's led a lot of laps tonight. The only downside is that he's in a little bit worse fuel position than some of the people that he's racing with. He and Nathan Gentry both are going to have to come to pit road a bit sooner than some of their competitors. Scott Dross came to pit road 26 laps ago, as we're seeing right there on the scoring ticker. Nathan Gentry 35 laps ago, and you can see some of the numbers for his competitors right here. 10 laps for Tom Wendt, Peter Smetana 9 laps, Aaron Smith 9 laps. So Jacob Phillips as well, 9 laps. So, yeah, some of these drivers in a little bit better fuel shape than others.
In the chat, Paul Thomas saying Derek Fike is going to be the next to crash. Making it look okay right now, but I think that outside line that Fike's been running for the past 3 or 4 laps is making some of our viewers at home a little bit nervous. That has been the trouble spot. Grajewski throws a massive block on the number 69 there, and that was almost a moment for the number 69 of James Young trying to work his way back on the lead lap the hard way, and Dave Grajewski tried to throw maybe an ill-advised block, and it almost went awry there, Chris.
Yeah, it did right there.
Dave's
in trouble.
Catches the number 69, and we are under caution for the 6th time tonight. 2-3 cars collected. Mitchell Smith found his way into that caution through the tri-oval. Massive Carnage, the big one at Daytona.
Yeah, that's Zachary Mitchell in that 27. Yeah, he did find his way into that crash right there. Several cars involved right there, and that started entering turn 3 with Dade on the outside, and unfortunately, yeah, he was just a little bit out of shape right here. The car's just, just not a lot of grip up there on that outside lane. And when he tags the wall, he's got his wheel still turned to the left, and that's going to turn that machine around right into that number 69 of James Young. James is going to tag the wall right there, and Zachary Mitchell in the 27, just nowhere to go. Aaron Smith back behind him in the number 70, also spinning through the infield area, and a lot of damage to the number 70 on the rear end right here. I'm curious to see if Aaron is going to decide to make a pit stop right here. I think that he got hit in the checkup. Trying to avoid the crash. Maybe some contact.
Randy Gross, sorry to call that out, but we got another caution crash right now. Randy Gross and Dave Grajewski, big trouble through the corner. Not sure exactly what happened there between the 31 and the 6, but a big collision in turn 3 and 4. I'm sorry to interrupt, Chris, but my goodness, cautions are finding us tonight.
Yeah, these cars don't stop very easily, and I think that started with, we might go back here. I think that might have started around where Nathan Gentry was, a big checkup around where Nathan is right here. He was catching the field. He got sideways. Randy Gross was catching the field as well. He got sideways. They're going to save it, though, and Dave Grajewski was the next one in there. They're 3 wide, and yeah, it's just hard to stop these things, and yeah, unfortunately, yeah, we had another crash right there under caution.
These things aren't easy to drive. We're going to take our breath for a moment. We're going to go ahead and play the intro video that we played at the start of this race. Kind of a 1980s hype video. You can see some live racing action in these real 1987 cars from when they ran at Daytona many, many years ago, folks. We'll be right back on the other end of this video segment.
You know, sometimes
Back here live in Daytona, you are looking at the leader, Scott Drost, pace car, and the rest of the field working their way back towards the number 2. Trying to figure out what actually happened there, but it has been an interesting race so far. 6 cautions, lots of carnage. As we expected, these cars do not handle as well as the more modern stock cars at Daytona, and you saw your fair share of crashes in that highlight compilation of the real-life deal in the 1980s at Daytona. And Scott Drost waiting on that pace car to pick him up a little bit further back, watching some of the other cars catch up. And there you see Drost awaits the pace car, and not quite sure why he got there so fast, but it's going to be on him and the number 12, the number 9 of Nathan Gentry. Those are going to be your 2 leaders as the pace car is going to make that hard left turn. Getting ready for the final third of this race, and it is setting up to be an all-time classic. The intensity is picking up, and these restarts continue to get more tense. Look at the big restart Drost gets with the help of Braxton DeWeese. That outside line really struggles to get going. Braxton DeWeese doesn't want to waste any time. Swings right, climbs the banking through turns 1, and he's now to the outside, clear in front of number 2, Scott Drost. Will he be able to slide down, or does Drost make the maneuver back to draw even with DeWeese?
Yeah, Braxton really wants to lead right here off of turn number 2. He's good on fuel for the rest of the race, and he knows that if he gets the track position and gets the lead right here, he doesn't have to worry about saving fuel. He's going to have clean air on the nose, and he can really look after those tires right here. So I think you're going to see Braxton fight pretty hard right here to try to grab the lead on the outside.
Braxton DeWeese and Drost remain side by side. 2 white cars, the number 8 and number 2, trying to find their way to the lead, but finding their way up to the front of the pack. Look at that red, number 26. Peter Smetana tries to draw 3 wide, thinks better of it. He slides into 3rd place, shot out of a rocket ship. These cars will have to go by the impacted car of Dave Grzewski and that number 6, who tries to hang down on the apron, just doing everything he can to keep control of the car, but it's a battle for second between Smetana and Drost.
Yeah, that 25 of Smetana right here, trying to pull up, trying to get the draft off of the number 8 machine of Braxton DeWeese. But they are really close. He and the 2 of Drost entering turn number 3. Drost only has a few more laps left in the tank before he's going to have to come to pit road. Little connection flash right there for that number 25, but he's trying to grab the position right here and keep up with the pace of DeWeese in the number 8.
Yeah, Drost can't have more than maybe 6 to 7 laps max. And look at Smetana. Aggressive move to the outside of Braxton DeWeese. It's the red, white, and blue car versus the white and the blue car. 25 plus 8 makes 33, but both drivers going for first right now.
Yeah, Smetana going to grab the lead right here. And yeah, it is a fight for track position at this point right here. Grabbing the lead right now on these fresh tires is much easier than grabbing the lead late. As the number 67 of Derek Fike tags the wall. Fike just 1 lap down right now. He's been fighting to get back on the lead lap. He's going to get back in line back here to the bottom right here. But it is a big fight for clean air and track position up at the front of this thing, Ellis.
They crossed the line. It was 33 laps. Now 32 laps remaining at Daytona. The Beach Bum 250. The intensity continues to pick up in the final third of this race. Braxton DeWeese is the second car in line, laying chase in the number 25 of Peter Smetana, who's been fast all night long, but lied in the weeds much of the evening. He's found his way to the front. Single file, top 10 cars now as they snake their way down the backstretch. And Braxton DeWeese looks to draw high, thinks better of it, doesn't make the move that corner. They'll cycle back onto the front straightaway here, and he'll make another shot at it down into 1.
Yeah, close quarters right there. The number 8 machine right on the back bumper of the 25 of Smetana. DeWeese trying to get that car in front of him a little bit loose right there. Peter Smetana doing a great job holding on to it, but there is an aero loose effect in these cars at Daytona, Ellis, with a car being packed up really close behind you. On entry to these corners, these cars will get really loose right here. Peter Smetana just holding on, but DeWeese is going to go to the outside and try to grab the lead.
Teamwork makes the dream work, and right now, Scott Drost and Braxton DeWeese are making a good team on the outside. They make the pass on Smetana. Drost into the wall. That high line's been dangerous. It proves to be dangerous once again. And now Braxton DeWeese doesn't have a dance partner. He's all alone, but he's out in front. He grabs the lead here from Peter Smetana on lap 70, coming to lap 71 through the tri-oval. 30 laps left here from Daytona.
Yeah, there's 30 laps left right here, and we got some jockeying for position. Peter Smetana is not content to just ride in second place. The battle for the lead is on right here. Some of the most intense racing for the lead that we have seen all night at this stage of the race. Some drivers that have been just riding around for a lot of the race, now letting showing their hands, so to speak, right here with Peter Smetana right here and Braxton DeWeese fighting it out for the top spot.
Letting it all hang out as well as the number 9 of Tom Wendt, 28 car on track, slowly creeping into that frame, using the draft to his advantage. He draws to third, maybe looking to make a move with the help of Aaron Smith, that yellow machine right behind him. Will these two cars work together? Smith has proven all night he's willing to push and be that second car in line. Will he and the number 28 of Wendt team up here? Right now, top 10 single file. Aaron Smith lunges down in front of Scott Dross, who since recovered from that contact with the wall just 2.5 laps ago. They work their way down the back straightaway. Wendt gets a run on Smetana, who gets a run on DeWeese. DeWeese closes the door in that white number 8 and says, not today, wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, Aaron Smith lost a spot right there in line to that number 2 machine to Scott Dross. Aaron Smith is one of the cars that we saw spinning through the infield grass earlier. There still is a little bit of damage to the rear bumper of that number 70, so I think that Aaron has decided to hold on to his quick repair for any crash that might occur in the closing stages of this race. Have to wonder maybe if the handling isn't quite right on that number 70 machine. He's doing a good job and holding on there very strong, but still a little bit of a wrinkle to that rear bumper.
Battle for the lead heats up. Smetana looks like he's going to make the pass. Jumps out for just a second to the back bumper of Braxton DeWeese. One car behind them, Tom Wendt, wiggles in front of the field. 2 car lengths separate Smetana from the lead of Braxton DeWeese, while he's got the 28 of Tom Wendt breathing down his neck. They continue to be single file through the tri-oval. One car I'm keeping an eye on is that number 56 of Jacob Phillips, who's not far behind. He's been lingering in 6th, 7th place all night long after trouble early on through the race, looking to work their way now under Drost, who goes to the top of the track. He's got to be careful not to lose control of that car, and now Phillips finds himself behind Aaron Smith in the 5th position. Smith falling back just a little bit. Chris, you mentioned that damage might be playing a bit of a role in Smith's stumble, or at least lurking down here in 4th position. He continues to try to just wait his time out and bide his time, maybe suffering from that damage he incurred earlier.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much it is affecting him right here. He's able to close right up on these guys just fine after he made the pass on the 2. So maybe it's not hurting him too bad right here as we ride on board with Aaron. Tom Wendt right here looked to try to make a pass, but he's going to get out of line right here and try to squeeze back in front of Aaron Smith. He's going to be able to do so. Tom Wendt is a driver who we know he has a lot of super speedway experience. Peter Smetana going to go for the lead on Braxton DeWeese as they enter turn 3.
Battle for the lead tightens up. Smetana in the 25. He's on the inside. Braxton DeWeese on the outside. DeWeese is going to have to be careful. We see in the outside be the danger zone all night long. DeWeese makes it look easy. Rides that momentum back to the lead. He's going to lead at the line, but they remain side by side. Smetana gets the run down to the inside. Aaron Smith's going to join him. We've seen that 25 and that 70 working together all night long. Not officially teammates, but familiar with each other and well-versed in each other's racecraft as they've raced multiple seasons together. Aaron Smith looking to work with Smetana. Braxton DeWeese definitely not looking to work with Smetana. He wants the lead back, and he lunges to the inside to do just that in turn 3.
This is one heck of a battle right here. Both these drivers, Smetana in the 25, DeWeese in the 8. They're not content to ride in second spot. They're going at it. They're going after it, and man, we are being entertained right here by these great drivers right here. Back and forth, the 8 and the 25. They know how important it is to maintain the lead. Let's watch Peter Smetana right here. I saw him before when he was in second behind DeWeese. He was kind of lagging back, and this is a car right here where you can really be rewarded for lagging back and getting that slingshot, no pun intended, on that driver in front of you, allowing the horses to really be let loose in the draft right here. With these big stocky stock cars from 1987.
Look at the speed. Smetana, as we ride on board, carries down into turn 3. Really the fastest segment of the track. There's no kink in the backstretch like there is the front stretch. Drivers allowed to get those cars full speed all the way up as much as they got. And 212, 213 down into turn 3. They worked their way through the tri-oval as we ride on board with Smetana. Looking out the back window, Aaron Smith lies in wait. They've worked together all night long. When it comes down to it, will Smith push Smetana to the win, or will Smith try to claim his own victory here at Daytona and add to his impressive resume? It's one single file chain all the way back to 5th, led by Braxton DeWeese. Now Smetana, he's right there. Will he try to make the move? He's going to wait. They've been content to ride single file early on, but that has changed over the last 10 to 20 laps. And we're now 23 laps from the checkered flag here at Daytona.
Yeah, one driver on pit road. We mentioned it before. That is the number 2 machine.
VK through the grass, somehow hangs on to it. He's going to lose control. Will he get it back there as he rides down? Can he stay out of the wall? The answer is yes, but he'll remain sideways here. We're going to continue on green flag racing. A bad break for Derek VK, who was trying to earn his lap back the hard way. Sorry to interrupt, Chris.
That's okay right there. Scott Dross had to come to pit road. He was in worse shape on fuel than all of his competitors, and that happened right behind him. He's going to exit right here. He's going to be one lap down in that number 2 machine, but he should be good to go on fuel to the end of this thing. The only downside of this is that he is out of the draft. He's going to need a caution if he's going to catch up.
Now, what I'm really interested in to see is, can these drivers make it on fuel? There's officially 21 laps left. That would put them at a 36-lap stint. Braxton DeWeese, it would put at a 37-lap stint. And Chris, that 8 car has been leading the field for the last 10 laps. That might be questionable on fuel if you're the driver of that number 8 machine. We'll have to wait and see what's going to transpire inside that pit box for the number 8.
Yeah, it's definitely, something to think about for sure. I think that the caution laps that they had, because they made the pit stop under yellow, I think that might put them over. Not sure, though. We'll definitely have to keep our eyes on it as we go throughout this race. But yeah, fuel could possibly be a concern. I think that Braxton, if he was, very close on fuel, I don't think he'd be fighting as hard for the lead. I think he'd want to be a little bit further back. So we'll definitely keep our eyes on it, though. We're also keeping our eyes on a connection issue with the 25, Peter Smetana. Peter is a driver he's in that 25 car right there, the red and blue car. He's out of Czechia, and that's, in Europe. And so, kind of a little bit removed from the server farm that a lot of these other drivers, race on. So hopefully Peter is able to maintain his connection right here, because he has worked really hard, found himself in good position right here, and we want to see him make it to the checkered flag.
Absolutely. We don't want to see any driver had technical difficulties keep them out of victory lane. One little piece of information related to that, Derek VK, we saw him have trouble just about 3 laps ago. We are getting information that his monitor went black and caused the incident there that happened to him as we watch the 25 continue to blink out on the track. They work their way down through the corner now towards the backstretch as the lead pack tries to snake down one more time. They've got about 19 laps, coming to 18 laps to go here. This is the pay window. And Chris, it literally is a pay window tonight. Money is on the line. $40 cash pot for these drivers tonight, with the winner taking home the largest portion of that. They're going to be increasing their energy, increasing their aggressiveness here as cash becomes visible at the start-finish line. Every driver is going to want to have a little bit of dinner money, a little bit of gas money, a little bit of money for iRacing expenditures, if you will. So we're going to see what happens. A couple pieces of information also in the chat. Alan Madonna chiming in says that Taylor Tanner Gray just won at Martinsville in the Xfinity race. I'm curious to see how that finish was. Let us know if you watched it. Alan, what happened? How did that win come to be? Also, Paul Thomas talking about second place seems like a good place to be right now. That is where Peter Smetana is. Paul saying these cars handle very difficult, like Mack trucks, 18-wheelers, if you will. Appreciate all y'all chiming into the chat tonight. Someone's going to be getting a Richard Petty diecast when all is said and done. But we got business to finish as Braxton DeWeese leads the the field across the line to lap 84. Just 17 laps left here at Daytona. That's probably 12 minutes left of racing. It's going to come down to the wire, and they're clicking away fast, Chris.
They sure are right here. Peter Smetana pulling up to the rear bumper of Braxton DeWeese, giving a little bit of a bump draft right there as they enter turn number 3. Just letting Braxton DeWeese know that he is still there. And, yeah, we're coming down to it right now, Ellison. You've still got a lot of laps to go, but, you know, these laps click by a little bit faster in these cars because of the extra speed that they carry. So, you know, as we get closer and closer to the end of this thing, if it remains what it is right now with the front 6 right here, Braxton DeWeese all the way back to Steve Vest in a line right here, I think that these drivers are probably pretty good on fuel. You know, we have to start thinking about where do you want to be in the closing stages right here as Zachary Mitchell is going to get out of line right here. What's the preferred position to be in? Would you much rather be where Braxton DeWeese is up at the front of the field, make them have to go around you? Or do you want to be where Peter Smetana is and possibly be able to get that slingshot on Braxton DeWeese in front of you? Maybe lag back a little bit to try to get that run. Still got a lot of laps to go, but something to start thinking about.
I think these drivers are going to have a lot to be thinking about here with just about 16 laps left from Daytona. Now 15 laps remaining. It's really a 6-car race, but don't forget, we've got one car, that is Scott Drost, who was a lap down. He came down for fuel. Zachary Mitchell also. The draft can be quite the equalizer here. I think Zachary Mitchell's got maybe a little bit too much damage to think that car is going to have a chance here in the running, but cars like Nathan Gentry might be able to catch the rest of the field in the draft. But really 6 cars right now, taking a hard look at, is all having a chance to win. If you go DeWeese, Smetana, Smith, we've seen them all lead. We've seen Tom Wendt really be second, third place much of the race. Jacob Phillips is a driver that could pull off the upset here in that number 56 machine. And Steve Vest, the perennial super speedway contender, sitting in 6th, kind of just lurking back there, waiting for his opportunity to maybe get his first victory here tonight. And I don't know who's going to win. I don't know what is going to happen. These cars can get runs in quite a hurry, and you could go from 4th on the last lap all the way to the win at the checkered flag.
Yeah, let's talk about a couple of those drivers right there at the end of this pack right here. Jacob Phillips in the 5th spot right there in the number 56 machine. We saw him go screaming down pit road in the last caution right there as he made a little bit of contact with Aaron Smith in the 70. You know, just in the checkup to try to avoid the crash right there. He did go down pit road to avoid it. Here he is right here in the 5th spot. Jacob Phillips is a driver who is, he's really on quite a roll here lately. He finished 3rd on Monday night in the UD Awards National Series. And yeah, here he is, finds himself in, you know, that was at Portland, a very difficult track, very far removed from this place right here. Here he is, finding himself in the 5th spot, and he's in contention to win this thing. And you mentioned it, Steve Vest right there in the number 60 and 6th spot. Steve always finds himself up here near the front of these things at the end of these super speedways. So let's watch these 2 drivers right here as they get to the end of this thing. Maybe they'll work together a little bit. I know they're in the same chat right there with Tom Wendt. So got 3 drivers right there, you know, are in each other's ear. Maybe they can work together to do something with the 3 in front of them.
Now, Chris, if you are in this field, are you thinking about any sort of dress rehearsal for the last lap? If you're Smetana, if you're Smith, if you're Wendt, do you think about maybe trying to play around a little bit here? You got an odd of 12 laps left. If you want to make a move, you might be able to make a move to see how it could work and then potentially fall back in line if it doesn't work out and take another shot at it towards the end of the race. Is that something you'd be thinking about if you were in this top 6 right now?
I don't think I would pull out a line, especially if I'm Smetana or Smith. I think I would stay right where I'm at, but I am seeing Peter Smetana. He's been working to get the run down the backstretch. He keeps on pulling up onto the rear bumper of Braxton DeWeese. He's actually made a little bit of contact with him entering turn 3 a couple times, giving him a little bit of a bump draft, which you don't see often in these cars, but it's not unheard of. And so, yeah, I think that we are seeing Peter kind of, you know, consider and think about, you know, what's the run going to be like entering that corner maybe on the last lap. He seems very content to ride right here. He kind of pulls up right here. He doesn't quite have the run this time that he's had the last couple laps as he kind of blinks out right there. But I think that we are seeing that. I think we are seeing him consider, you know, like what he can do with that run. I think the beginning of this run, when he and DeWeese were really swapping the lead, I think that was a lot of a good practice for both of them. in the closing stages. And, the tires are going to be more wore out for sure. But I think that's going to be something that they think about and something they consider in the final stages of this thing.
And we are down to the final stage of this thing. Now just 10 laps left. That's approximately about 8 minutes left of racing. We've been at it for almost an hour and a half, 90 minutes, and it's going to come down to the last 10 minutes of this race. And we have no idea who is going to win. Folks, do yourself and your friends a favor. If you know anyone who likes good racing, send them this link right now because it's going to be an all-time classic. Last time we broadcast a race in these 87s, Chris, it was a 5/1000ths of a second victory just a year and a half ago that we saw one driver barely cross the line in front of the other driver, and I'm thinking we're going to be headed towards that direction tonight. Just 9 laps left to rack it up right now. It's Braxton DeWeese. That's that lead car. That number 8, he's been out there much of the evening, but right behind him has been that red and blue number 25, Peter Smetana, who hasn't been shy of making the lunge left or right to gain the lead back. Aaron Smith, a little bit further behind them, might have a little damage, but it doesn't seem to have hampered that number 70 car too much. He's a driver we've seen absolutely dominate. He's not one you can count out here in the final stage of this race. And then Tom Wendt. We haven't seen Tom Wendt really lead this race yet, but he's been in the top 4 for pretty much 80 to 90% of it. Can that 28 find a dance partner in the final 5 laps and work his way up to the front? He's definitely got a shot. Jacob Phillips right behind him and that number 56. You mentioned it. He's got a hot streak going, and there's something intangible about momentum, what it can do for a driver's confidence, and with that, maybe a little bit of extra speed. Will Phillips find that speed? Will he find that confidence, take him to victory lane in just 8 laps? That's going to remain to be seen. And finally, the last car we think is in contention is that number 60 of Steve Vest, an all-time perennial favorite when he visits these super speedways. Always one to be reckoned with. Can he pick up his first win tonight? We've got 7 laps left to figure this out. And in the chat, Connor Lyons has joined us. Connor, you made it a little bit late, but we are glad you tuned in. Hope your day went well. And here we go, Chris. Who do you put your money on?
Yeah, I really like being where Braxton DeWeese is. I'm going to be totally honest. I know that Peter Smetana is working the rear bumper. I know that he's been working with the runs. But if I'm Braxton DeWeese on that last lap, I'm going to do everything I can to protect the inside entering turn number 3. I like having the clean air. I think that, it's been better on his tires. I like to be where Braxton DeWeese is because I want them to have to drive around me. I would much rather force them to have to drive around me, to try to get the win. So I still like where DeWeese is, even though Peter Smetana, can get that run.
Derek VK in the wall in front of the major pack. Sorry to interrupt, Chris. That could have been a big moment for our leaders.
Yeah, he's going to keep it up there. They're going to get by with no trouble at all. And, I maintain that I would want to be in the lead in the closing stages of this thing.
Well, it's going to be 5 laps to go when we cross the line here. It's about a car length separating each of the top 6. Drivers just being patient here, knowing that any sort of move to the front could easily set them to the back if they don't have a dance partner or they don't find the speed. They can't keep that momentum. So drivers should maybe just holding their cards, not showing their cards at the moment. It's Braxton DeWeese in that number 8. We've seen him have a very successful season in these 1987 cars. Won a championship, Chris, a couple of years ago in the Slingshot Racing League Summer Series in these 87 cars. He knows his way around, but we got to address the elephant in the room. If you're DeWeese, if you're Smith, and you got that 25 of Smetana, we mentioned the connection issues, maybe at the different server farm in Europe. Is that something you're thinking about? Does it change the way you race the number 25 now with just 4 to go?
It just gives you some uncertainty. I don't think it can change anything as far as, like how you decide to attack right here. Smetana looking to get some clean air on the nose right here. I've been noticing Braxton. He's been looking here. Here's Aaron Smith looking to the outside of Peter Smetana. Can't make it work right here, but we're starting to see these drivers move around. I don't think it changes anything at this point, Ellis. I still think you got to attack like he's any other driver out there.
Oh, boy. There we go. We almost saw a moment there. Aaron Smith thought about going with Smetana, but Smetana blinked out, at least on our end. One car in the wall. That's Tom
28.
Wint. He slid up the track, Chris.
Yeah, he tagged the wall right there. Yeah, in the stack up right there. Going to get the wall right there. Steve Best looking to the inside of him, but Wint's going to protect that position right here. There's just 3 laps to go, and the front 3 have kind of separated from everybody else.
Are they too far in front? Can those other drivers catch back up and make it a 6-car race once again?
I think that Jacob Phillips is going to have the draft right here. I think that all 6 of them are going to come back together right here as the field works its way down the backstretch. Peter Smetana right here all over the back bumper of Braxton DeWeese, giving DeWeese a lot to think about as they enter turn number 3. It's not going to do anything right now, Ellis. I think he's waiting to the last second, but it seems like Aaron Smith is not content to wait as long as Peter Smetana is. Smith has got to make his move sooner.
Smith does have one more spot to gain if he's going to get to victory lane. 2 laps left, and look at that 70 car. There goes Smetana. Thought about going to the outside. He thinks about it again. Can he get? He can't get there. He's going to have to wait. And will he wait for Aaron Smith as we ride on board that number 70? That's maybe one of the best views in the house right now. He could very well be the kingmaker, Chris, with 1.5 laps left at Daytona.
Yeah, Aaron Smith can play a role in who wins this race, which direction he decides to go right here. Smetana fades to the outside, but DeWeese also fades with him right there, trying to cover the spot right here as the field works its way through turn 4. We've got just 1 lap to go as the field is going to take the white flag.
The Whiplash SimCam's white flag waves in the air. For the final time tonight, these drivers will roll around Daytona International Speedway. It's a 3-car fight for the win. It's DeWeese, Smetana, and Smith. They work their way through turns 1 and 2, still single file. Braxton DeWeese waiting for that last-minute move by Smetana. Will it come down the super stretch? The answer looks like it's going to be no. Maybe he's waiting for help from Aaron Smith. There he goes, Chris.
He's looking to the outside right here. Is he going to get there? He has position right here. He blinks out. Oh, they're so close right here as they come off the corner. Will he have a run down the front stretch?
Smith pushes Smetana to the lead. The teammates work together. Who's going to win? Smith goes for it. Smetana claims the win at the line. The official margin, 8/1000ths of a second. Wow, how about that? Last lap, last corner, last 100-yard pass, Chris.
Yeah, that was crazy right there. I don't know if they were officially teammates, but they worked together very well right there in the closing stages of that. And man, if I'm Braxton DeWeese, Braxton did almost everything he could right there, but Peter Smetana with a great run to the outside. Let's go back and watch this right here. I thought he was going to make the move right here coming off turn 2. He decided to get back in line right here, deliver a little bit of a push. He goes to the outside of Braxton DeWeese right here. And I thought right here, I wasn't sure what kind of position he was going to have because he blinked out and then he came back and then he all of a sudden he had the run off of turn number 4. He played it perfectly and he's going to get the run to the line right here to the outside. Look at this margin come to the line here, Ellis.
What a finish. 8/1000ths of a second. And Chris, what a week for finishes at Daytona. Just 2 nights ago, Thursday night, it was also the same margin, 8/1000ths of a second, separated first from second place. Now, that brings us to the interviews. We're going to talk to these drivers, see what actually happened on the track. But before we do that, we are going to go ahead and award the diecast tonight to Alan Madonna in the chat. Alan Madonna, you win the Richard Petty diecast. We're going to throw up our email into the chat. Let me do that real quick. It's going to be SS Racing, let me spell, leagues @gmail.com. You can email us, get us that address, and we'll send that out to you. We appreciate you tuning in. We do these diecast giveaways every week, so you're not going to miss anything. You got another chance to get a diecast all season long. So make sure to subscribe and tune in. We appreciate all y'all who tuned in tonight. Let's go ahead and hear from our 3rd place finisher, Aaron Smith. Get him in the channel here. Aaron Smith. It's Chris Ellis and Johnny up in the Slingshot TV booth. Driver 70, you got a copy.
Yeah, I've got you.
Hey, man. Well, quite the race that, culminated in a win by 8/1000ths of a second. Photo finish across the line, and you were third in that finish, and it came down to the wire. Walk us through, let's just go ahead and start with that final lap. Walk us through the mentality. What were you thinking? Were you and Peter talking? Was there any sort of communication? We know you've raced with him before. What was going through the head of that driver number 70?
Well, after that wreck, I was certain we were going to get another caution, and didn't repair all the damage on my car, but I was able to save more tire than the two of them there at the front in that final run. I knew that if I got a good run out of two, I could make a shot at it, but Peter was blinking so bad there in that last run. I didn't want to risk wrecking him and bringing the whole field back together for a final restart, so I sat back there, waited for him to make a move, and then once he made it, there wasn't a wreck. I was hoping there'd be a wreck, but there wasn't, and finished P3, but it was a solid run nonetheless.
Yeah, I was curious. I know you and Peter worked together before, so I was curious if you were going to push him across, but you made a great move down there to the inside. And talk to us about how difficult these cars were to corral around the track. I think we saw that really be evidenced all night long, especially as drivers climbed up the track. How difficult, even for the best drivers, is it to, wrangle these 87 cars around Daytona?
Well, I wouldn't say they're that hard to drive as much as they are hard to stay patient with. Like, you saw so many people flying up in the second and third lanes at the very beginning of the run and being nowhere to be found there at the after the first 5 laps. So as long as you were safe on your tires, just running around the inside, lifting early, coasting, doing everything you needed to do to keep those right side tires warm, you'd be fine. Like, we could have had a 40-car field all sitting single file line the whole race and they'd all be fine, but you gotta, sometimes it takes like those kinds of different approaches with the tires to make the race interesting, so I'm glad it did.
Man, you did a great job. You made it interesting there at the end. Before we let you go celebrate that third place finish, you got any shout outs for the folks watching at home?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the folks at the Slingshot Racing League for putting this show on, y'all for broadcasting, all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it whenever I show up next.
So, man, we'll be looking forward to seeing you. That number 70 machine. Have a good night. Aaron Smith, third place.
And 4, thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, Chris, we're going to move on to second place. We're going to be in Braxton DeWeese. I'll let you take it away.
Braxton DeWeese, driver of the number 8. This is the Slingshot booth. You got a copy, bud?
I got you.
Hey, Braxton. Yeah, let's go back right there. And first off, what a great finish that we saw right there. I know that you wanted to bring home the checkered flag, but you gave it one heck of an effort right there in that number 8 machine. Talk us through that final run right there. We saw you and Peter Smetana right there battling really, really hard for the lead right there. Especially at the beginning of that final stint right there. Both of you guys fighting really hard for that track position in that clean air. You won that battle right there and put yourself in the lead. In the closing stages right here, just walk us through that. I know that you it's tough to get down there to the checkered flag and to be that close to it. Walk us through the final laps right there in your perspective, and maybe what you would change if you could go back and do anything different.
Well, first of all, I'd be a little more aggressive. I feel like I didn't throw the block. I went right when he made that move. I went back and watched it because in the moment it just all happened so quick. You don't fully remember it all. So I was like, you know what? Let's go back and watch, see what I could have done differently. And I made a move to the right, and then I just didn't stick with it. I kind of kept it. I wish I would have went up. I wish I would have went up later on, anyways, and squeezed him up against the wall. To be honest with you, next time I'm gonna be a little more aggressive. But I thought I was squeezing up against the wall, and there was just a little bit more room. But either way, I just need to counter that move a little bit better and actually, just go with it and stick with it. And I was worried about spinning myself there, and kind of just wish I just went with the move just to do it, because I felt like I would have got it clear. Now it would have been close, but I felt like it would have been good. But I really just needed to keep that clean air, needed to make sure he didn't pull any moves on the inside, because I felt like if he got to the inside of me, I was game over, and Aaron was probably going to get around as well. And if anybody else behind Aaron was close as well, they were going to get him too, but get me, I should say. And yeah, just frustrated. I know second's still good, and we led the most laps and whatnot, but man, I wanted to get the trophy of the car or something. I seen that on there, and I was like, I don't know what it looks like, but I really wanted it, and we'll try for the next one if that's going to be the reward. for another event. But either way, still a good showing, good run. Just got to be a little more aggressive next time.
You definitely put on a good showing out there, and yeah, who knows? We might throw another one of these up at some point, and we're definitely going to see you back on the track on Monday night at Talladega in the UD Awards National Series. You're leading the points in that series. Tell us about your thoughts when you head to Talladega right there, and you're looking forward to hitting high banks.
Yeah, Talladega is always it just opens the cards for everybody to be able to go for the win. So I think we're just gonna try to cruise. If we can get points for laps, leading laps, then I'll do it. But it just depends about fuel situation. That's been a pretty big deal here in Slingshot in whatever league it is. Well, for ARCA and the Gen 4s is where it's going to be most prominent. But we just gotta keep up with the fuel strategy like we were tonight. We kept coming down pit road. That was just to make sure if there was a green flag stop, we didn't have to put as much fuel in it. At least that was my thinking, because these pit stops, these 87 Cup cars take forever. Anything to slow them down will definitely help. But just try to stay out of trouble, try to keep the lead. I know you're behind me. I think it's like 9 points, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, it's within 10, and just gotta...
Whoa. There's someone else behind you, too. Don't leave me out.
Well, you aren't second yet, so we'll see if you can do something today. That's a pretty good shot for you to be able to win there.
You've
been up there a good amount.
Strategy now.
Yeah, well, we'll see if you can do something with it. And, you've been up there a good amount. Like, Kentucky, you're up there, and I was like, hell yeah, man. LSC's running up here. That was good, man. But it's good to see you up there. But, we've had some pretty good racing this year, honestly. Like, I've really no complaints in the ARCA series. Now, I know it's easy to say since I've won, but the racing has been good in general. Even at the road course, it was pretty solid. Now it's strung out, but there's some good battles there throughout the race. But, Dega's going to be pretty interesting. It's just who's going to cause the big one? Is there going to be a big one? We'll just try to do what we can. And I'm really worried about the Gen 4 series right now. I want to try to pick that up. The Gen 4 series reminds me of the other two summer series that we ran back in 23 and 24 when Slingshot, before they took their break, and we had a bad start to the first half of the season, but we'll see if we can do something in the second half. If we want to get close there, we're definitely going to have to win more than two, probably have to win like 3 races and him have a little bit of bad luck, but anything can happen, and we'll just keep trying our best. That's all we can do.
And we're looking forward to seeing you out there on the track. Before we let you go celebrate this awesome second place finish, you got any shout outs?
Yeah, most definitely. Big shout out to Interstate Ford. I've had that paint scheme since like beginning of 2024, so there's some outdated sponsors on there, but either way, still a good scheme nonetheless, I think. I'm gonna talk to Evan and try to get updated paint schemes for the entire 2026 season. Get that rolling. I've been slacking on paint schemes here recently. I've been running my own paints and on all the series in the leagues pretty much here recently if I don't have the paint for it. But I'm going to be debuting a paint that I actually put more time in tomorrow, or I should say Monday, in the ARCA series. It's a little Halloween themed paint. I believe I sent it in the SRL Discord, but looking forward to that. It wasn't nothing too special, but it's something better than what I've been doing, I think. So hopefully we can do good in that. But either way, big shout out to Interstate Ford, Happy Hippie Karaoke, 3 Dips Ice Cream Shop, Steak Time, Dewey's Renovations, Allen's Arts Images, Paid Lead, Wood Nickel Band, Short Track Report, Scribble Tires Media, Evan Pinetta Designs, and Our Pizza over there in Winchester, Indiana. They help sponsor the Midwest Thunder Roadster series that I run in. And I'm looking forward to next year with that, so hopefully we can transfer some of the speed that we have out here on the sim to the car in real life. But solid P2, we'll take it.
Absolutely great run tonight for Braxton DeWeese, our second place finisher. We'll see you on the track Monday night, bud.
Yep, I appreciate it. Chris, Ellis, Johnny, I see you over there too. Y'all have a good one.
Yes, sir. You too.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, that means there's one left to hear from. That is our winner tonight. Peter Smetana will bring him in. Peter, this is Ellis, Chris, and Johnny in the Slingshot TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Hello, guys.
Hello, how are you?
Very fine.
I bet you are. I bet you are. Congratulations on picking up that incredible win tonight and making it look crazy last lap pass there. tell us about what you were thinking going into the white flag in the last lap. What you thought you might have to do to get the win.
I'm waiting for the last lap because I ran an event in Jelly for Richard Petty, and I won the same style last lap pass in last corner, and I tried again, and my internet connection was not good, and by 1000 victory.
You did an incredible job, and you were fun to watch every single lap. Incredible job out there. Great looking livery, great looking car. Before we let you go celebrate the win, do you have any comments for your fans, your sponsors, any shout outs you would like to give?
Yeah, thank you for all fans who are watching this event, and thank you to you and your team for hosting, because I'm from Europe, Central Europe, Czech Republic, and we don't have any special events on or any special any championship with these cars, and I am loving these cars and super speedways. Thank you.
We love these cars too. They are our favorite to drive, and they put on a great show tonight, and we hope to see you back, Peter. Congratulations on that win, and have a good rest of your evening and weekend.
Yeah, thank you very much, and again, thank you for hosting.
Absolutely. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, so you heard from your top three, including your winner. What a thrilling finish it was tonight. Fellas, we were lucky to be able to call all the action the whole way, and lots of moments, lots of great, I hate to say great crashes, but anytime you're watching these 87 cars, you got to look for the rollovers. We had a couple of dramatic ones tonight. We gave away that free Richard Petty diecast. We got to see some great runs and some great racing, and a car that we don't normally get to watch on Slingshot TV. But man, this has me wanting more, so I'm going to be an advocate for getting more of these 87 NASCAR races on the broadcast. Johnny, what did you think about tonight? Does it make you want to get back out there in an 87 car?
It absolutely does. I'm more of a fan of these things on the mile and a half. So I don't have the plate tracks really figured out, but still, incredible racing and just the pure speed that these guys are going, and being able to keep it under control definitely makes for an exciting show up here. Definitely don't cross it off for potential Slingshot leagues.
Hey, I'll be in line for that one, at least to broadcast. Man, we appreciate the work you did tonight. You did crush it up in the production booth, as you do every single week. And you got some more races you're going to be producing here next week. We talked about the UD Awards National Series for Slingshot Racing League. Head into Talladega this Monday night. It is going to be a wild race at Talladega, just 53 laps. Driver's going to be in a hurry to get to the front. You can catch that one live on Slingshot TV. What's the starting time on that, Johnny? Is that 8:40? What do we got? What time are we starting those at 8:40 or 9 o'clock?
Yeah,
I don't even know what I race on.
Green flag time. But the stream starts a little bit earlier. You got to get in there and hear me do my best at sounding professional for the intros and stuff. So yeah, tune in about 8:45, something like that.
The consummate professional. Wednesday nights, we've got the Stand Up Fight Series Invitational headed into Talladega as well. What a hell of a week for super speedway racing that we are in store for, kicking off really, I guess, this Thursday with Daytona. It's going to be 4 super speedway races in a row on Slingshot TV, and got a tight championship battle going on over there that Braxton DeWeese alluded to between Aaron Smith, Braxton DeWeese, Chris Smith, and a handful of other drivers that could see any one of those win. Everyone in the field's got a chance when they head to Talladega, and 69 laps there. It's going to be a nice race to watch. You are going to be on the track for that one. We got another production crew calling that one. Those guys do a good job every single night. Then Thursday night, we've got the NSRL Ace Downtown Auto Sales Series. They're going to be heading to Las Vegas for race number 2 of their season. Lots of racing every single week here, 3 nights a week. Giveaways at least once a week on the channel, folks. If you are still watching, live or you're watching the replay, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We appreciate every subscription. Doesn't cost you a single thing, and it's the best way to support our channel and get more eyeballs in front of the fans watching at home. Before we go, though, we probably need to take a look at the results. Take a look at the top three. We talked to those fellas in the broadcast booth and the post-race interviews. But Jacob Phillips, Chris, it's been a good week for that number 56 driver. He finishes 4th. Tom Wendt finishes 5th in that 9 machine. Steve Vest with that 6th place finish. Good to see him around there at the end. 7th place was going to be Zachary Mitchell, who had a night of ups and downs, but finishes on the upside and top 10 finish. 7th, I should say, is going to be Nathan Gentry in that 12 machine. 9th's going to be Scott Drost, who had a good night early on, but suffered some late race trouble. He's going to have to settle for 9th. Derek Fike brings it home 10th in that number 67. He did have speed, but also had trouble late on.
Yeah, as we look through the rest of the field right here, we see Dave Grajewski finishing in the 11th spot. We know that we saw his issues a few times where he has some trouble running the outside lane. Randy Gross tried to persevere running a lap down. We saw him with that spectacular crash that he was able to get fixed and get back rolling, but he ran into some more trouble later on in the race. He's going to finish in 12th. James Young, he ran better than that 13th place finish shows. He'll finish in 13th. And Chris French, we saw him in that early crash right here. He's going to round out the field in the 14th spot.
It was a great night of racing. It definitely makes me eager for more of these 87 races, and hopefully we'll have some in the future, but we hope you join us for weekly racing here. We already mentioned those races, folks. It has been a great night from Daytona for the Beach Bum 250 for Slingshot Racing League and Slingshot TV. Ellis Thomas, Chris Smith, Johnny Rapp signing off. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you on Monday night, folks. Bye from Daytona.